Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this latest edition of RE079, where I take old stories I've narrated and update them to modern audio standards. This particular story is called Mind's Eye, written by LgFatherAnthrocite. The test subject had been sedated and was currently strapped to a table. Breshekt prepared to dive into the creature's mind. He sat near the head of the thing, currently strapped on the table, and placed his claw tips on the creature's skull. Breshekt was a proud member of the Drendish Mind Thieves. He and his brethren were trained to enter the minds of his people's enemies and extract their secrets. The Mind Thieves had ensured Drendish victories for centuries, and they were closely guarded secret. Breshekt pushed his consciousness into the mind of the alien. At first, Breshekt's psychic vision was clouded by fear and anxiety. No doubt, the very powerful emotions of the sedated creature before him. He pushed deeper into the mind, past the surface feelings and into where the core of the creature was located. In his mind's eye, Breshekt stood in a long hallway, lined with doorway after doorway. Some stood open and some had portal coverings that held them shut. Breshekt made to poke his metaphysical head into various doorways. The creature's past played out in its snippets of memory. The most accessible doors were wide open, and in these Breshekt saw the creature, often interacting with others of the same species. From the feelings attached to these memories, it was easy to determine that these were the creature's filial memories when it had interacted with loved ones. Breshekt proceeded down the hall to where the doors were closed. He opened the doors clumsily, as the physiology was so different. Behind these doors were memories of little significance to the creature, interactions with co-workers, daily maintenance routines, and the like. Delving deeper into the hall, the doors became harder and harder to open. Some were merely disused, while others were associated with feelings of mild shame, sadness, or guilt. Breshekt left a room which contained sad memories of the creature's ending his first cohabitation with a mating partner. As he re-entered the hallway, he heard a noise. Surprised, he spun back towards the sound. Before him stood the creature. He looked directly into Breshekt's face, his eyes. "You don't belong here. You should go, now, before something bad happens," the creature said.
"How are you? You should be sedated. You cannot be conscious. The drugs are very strong,"
Breshekt demanded. "Oh, Dave isn't awake. He's going to be out for a while. You guys juiced him up good," said the creature.
"If you are not awake, how can you be here?"
asked Breshekt. "I am not Dave. Well, I am Dave, but not the part he knows about, or anyone else knows about either, I suppose. Are you leaving? It's nice to have company for a change, but really, you shouldn't be in this place. It's, dangerous, I guess, for others. I mean, I'm used to it." Breshekt had never heard of such a thing. No sedated creature should have been able to interact with him.
"What are you, some sort of guard?"
asked Breshekt. "I mean, yeah, kind of. I like to think of myself more as a custodian. I make sure all the things in here are sorted and maintained properly. I make sure Dave never forgets what's important, whether he wants to or not. I am his subconscious." Breshekt jumped at the creature and snapped his massive claws around its neck, stopping just shy of crushing it.
"Take me to the guarded secrets. If you are the custodian, you must know where they are."
Breshekt was worried. He had never heard of something like a subconscious before. "You don't want to go there, trust me." Breshekt squeezed his throat in his claws. With a strangled voice, the creature said, Okay, I'll take you." The pressure was eased, and the Dave custodian said, "Follow me." They walked down the hall. Some of the doors were now chained shut, others, like the doors of the vault. They marched past a lifetime of memories. As Breshekt passed, he could feel emotions pouring out of the sealed doorways. Sadness, shame, guilt. Several doors were emitting waves of intense loathing, hatred, and disgust. Breshekt could barely skirt around these doors as they delved deeper into the hell. The lights grew dimmer and dimmer. Doors were blackened and cracking, leaking a miasma of negative emotions directed at the creature itself. Self-loathing, self-hate, self-disgust. The air was filled with it. It seemed to Breshekt like a poison. It clung to him like mud. He could barely force himself to continue. At the end of the hall, visible now, was a bright doorway. As they finally arrived, Breshekt was panting. Even walking past that many intense feelings was draining him. He hadn't even entered those rooms, and still felt an awful burden of them. The oppression of their weight. "I can't go in there, it's off limits to me. I can't." Dave, the custodian, stood at the edge of the light. It showed no signs of fatigue. No distress from the journey past all the harsh emotions. There was fear now. I was terrified of what lay in that room. There was no door, nor any other barrier. What lay beyond was always open, always accessible to the creature, an intrinsic part of what it was, like the custodian. Not a memory at all, but a part of the creature's psyche. Brishek stood at the edge of the doorway and stuck his head in the brightly lit room. It was bright. Light seemed to be coming from every surface. Not a shred of the darkness in the hall outside. He saw something shuffle around off from one side, another copy of the creature, like Dave the custodian. Brishek stepped into the room. Behind him, he heard Dave the custodian say, "No, come back." At the sound of Dave's custodian's voice, the copy in the brightly lit room snapped up and spun around. It locked its eyes at Brishek and roared, moving faster than Brishek could relieve. It leapt at him, snarling. Just before it made contact, Brishek noted how much more savage and bestial the new copy was. Almost scaly, skin covered a larger, more muscular physique. The last thing Brishek heard was Dave the custodian say, "Never freak out when there's a brain. That thing goes out of control." In the chamber where the Durendish mind thieves did their work, there was a small commotion. A mind thief lay nearly dead. In the middle of scouting the mind of an enemy, it suddenly screeched something and collapsed. Afterwards, it sat nearly comatose. The human creature was smuggled back into its habitation, so no one would miss it. After many days, Brishek finally spoke. He spoke out against starting any war with the humans.
They are savage animals. They play at civilization, but they are beasts. They suppress their savagery, but do not tame it. To them, it is a tool for survival. To start a fight with such people would be the start of a war with monsters.
End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Bushmaster 177, Henry the Red, Caspar Arnholtz, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Elijah Silvercross, Dragzoon WRE, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.